right, all right. Okay, we have been visited by an international singer, the former student of Ndlela Secondary School. So, ula today, ukuthi sonke, sithathe ipattern kuye, ukuthi there is something that you can do. You can go far with your music. Her name is Pretty Yende. Pretty Yende.
When you dream, nobody actually tells you all the details of that dream. It's like a house just being a skeleton. And you have to be the person who grows into governing the house.
Can I sing with you? Yes. I think you'd know it, actually.
If I want to be part of something this extraordinary, there's something that needs to change in me. I have to grow even more, to govern the gifts, to govern what's to come. In my hometown called Piet Retief, where I grew up, it is known as a timber city, but as far as music and culture is concerned, we are a big community of choral music. And as a country, music has been that pillar, whether we are going through something very difficult or something that gives us joy.
Qhubekile sikhonza uNkulunkulu nayo uPretty ngama-90s esemncane. Umndeni wakubo bokhonza ebandleni sukela kugogo wakhe kumkhulu wakhe kuze kuzofika kuye namndeni wonke nje wakayende.
Hayi umndeni wakwaYende, umndeni omuhle kakhulu. Esithembele thina ebandla lala ekhaya eNazarene kuwo kakhulu.
Umama ugogo kaPretty wayeuthanda kakhulu umculo.
Bahlala behlabelela sonke isikhathi.
Yeah, bebahamba beya esontweni. Bebahamba u 5 kilometers.
And she had a problem with asthma. So on the way to our church, we had to take many breaks. And during those breaks, she would take out the hymn and would start singing. So my grandmother was the one who actually planted those first seeds of music in my soul. So the very first time I heard opera, actually, it was 2001. I believe it was British Airways advert, and they used the Lakme duet from the Leap. Just those few 10 seconds. My brain was like, what? My heart was like, yes, finally. We can move forward with life.
She came to me, asked, what kind of music is that? What does that say? I told her it's opera.
So then he advised me to join the school choir. And I sang with a very, very, very small voice. So when Mr. Sitole heard those very first, sounds, he said, "Do you really think that you can be an opera singer, with that small voice?" And he was correct, because I didn't know how to sing that way. But something had changed in me. I started coming home and searching on the radio to find classical music, and I would record everything and put it on a cassette so that the following day I could play it and sing over it.
She's always been eager to learn. That made me realize that she really is going places.
And so I won the national competitions, and that's how I got to be the solo soprano.
Always tears in my eyes. Even today, there are always tears in my eyes when she sings, because I can hear that voice and I get so emotional.
I was about to finish high school, so I was already having bursaries to go study accountancy, so it was all done. So for me to change to this, it was a shock.
Hey, kwaba nzima. Angifuni ukucamba manga.
Then-ke kwaba nama-advisors engawathola ebandleni ukuthi uma ngabe umyekisa le career le eseya kulena wena oyifunayo, funa le efunwa nguwe ingaphumeleli kuye.
Cishe ngabona ukuthi ngendlela ayithanda ngawo lo mculo ayikho vele into engingagcina ngimphambukisa kuye mhlawumbe ngiyibhekise eceleni.
I couldn't not learn. It got me to the South African College of Music, and when I got there, I felt like I didn't belong there because I wasn't as great as all my colleagues were. So I was very grateful for Virginia Davids to say, everybody in this world has a gift, a calling, something special. And so don't feel like you don't belong here. Virginia Davids, we call her Mama V. I was very grateful to have her as a voice teacher because she was a pioneer herself. She was one of the first Black women to actually have an international career. But then at the time, she decided to come back to South Africa and to teach, and to our benefit.
In South Africa, things are very unequal, or were very unequal, and still are. So she wasn't at a school where there was sophisticated music education, but Pretty just waltzed in with no formal background besides what she had in the school choir. So that is actually an amazing story. And I wouldn't call it a fairy tale. People say it's a fairy tale. She worked very, very hard. That did my soul good.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And she walked on stage and she opened her mouth, and I turned to Virginia Davids and we said to each other, "This is an angel's voice." You see the performance, the way face goes away, and
I learned from you. Angelo Gobato told me there are artists that sing everything perfect, sound everything perfect, but they don't cross the threshold of touching the soul. Then you have other kinds of artists who are not so perfect maybe, but when they sing, they leave you with something that is truly extraordinary. And I said, I want to do that kind.
senza lagrime
when Pretty eventually graduated at the school, I did everything I could to send her to Milano and send her to La Scala School, where she studied with Mirella Freni. I saw Pretty in Milano, and I said to her, one can see Freni, the shape of the mouth, the way you sing, the beauty of tone. We were right.
I always say to people, you cannot fake on stage. And it stays with you right through your performance careers, is to find that inner truth, that inner core of every role. And she does that so successfully.
I remember I was actually doing La Fille du Régiment in this beautiful, beautiful production of Laurent Perry. And at one point in the rehearsal, I started to just mumble in Zulu. And everybody in the room liked it so much, they said, no, keep it, keep it. Each and every one of us as performers, we bring ourselves in the piece that we do. And literally this time, I brought myself, like, seriously.
So I think it's absolutely wonderful that she did what she did. That's such a wonderfully, proudly South African moment.
Leaving the country was something that I knew that I needed to do, but little did I know that the South African girl is gonna miss mama's food, the smell of the ground in my country, the sunset. And I remember appreciating the support I got from my family. And my dad actually was a big part of that shift, because he said to me, do you remember you said you're gonna go overseas and take over the world? Well, this is the dream. Now live.
So, does anybody have a question that they would like to ask me? You can even ask me in Zulu, it's fine.
My name is Lauretia. I wanted to ask you is it possible for a student from South Africa to study abroad music?
It is absolutely, absolutely possible. And South Africa is on the map on the global stage. So when you say that you're coming from South Africa, the world will be listening. Everything is possible. Please, 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 don't ever give up. I'm not an exception. I'm just like you.
I can tell you, each and every village has a Pretty somewhere. Just that our generation now has the privilege of time and possibility, whereas people who were behind us, they didn't have the same privileges.
Remember, we couldn't go into the cinemas, you couldn't go into restaurants, you couldn't go into hotels. When you had to buy something, if you traveled, you had to go by at a little small window. You couldn't go in the front door. So unless you've lived through that, you can never imagine what it was like. So I am just so happy and so glad that our young artists don't have to struggle like that anymore.
I feel very blessed that my path in trying to find who I am has become inspiration. For me, life in general is a big part of the inspiration of my journey too. And I hope that as I pursue mine, someone out there finds courage to also do the same.
I was five years old, walking on these streets with my grandmother. She would open this hymn book and we would sing. She would teach me the song, Hlengiwe limnandi leli izwi. And that was the first song that I learned. Hlengiwe limnandi leli izwi, hlengiwe ngegazi lemvana, hlengiwe ngomusa nothando, ngenziwe sengaba umntwana, hlengiwe limnandi lelizwi, hlengiwe ngegazi lemvana, hlengiwe ngomusa nothando, ngenziwe sengaba umntwana, hlengiwe, hlengiwe, hlengiwe ngegazi lemvana, hlengiwe, hlengiwe, ngenziwe sengaba umntwana, hlengiwe, hlengiwe, hlengiwe ngegazi lemvana, hlengiwe.